Hit it.
Hello, my name is Brendan Garnett, and I chose to do my culture research project on the Jewish culture, and I chose to do my interview on my boss's son, and who is right here.
I'm Jake Cohen. I am Jewish, not religiously, but it's very much a part of my life, and I'll show you around my synagogue, and this is a big part of my life, and a lot of community takes place here.
I want you to take me on a tour of the temple and give me a day in the life of who you are.
Okay. Well, this is just like kind of the walk-in area. This is actually a pretty big part of the temple right here. It's a big wall, and every single thing is a certain event, commemoration that someone decided to put up here. So you have everything from deaths and things like that to bar and bat mitzvahs, and people just put them up here. So if you go, they're not in any really particular order, but if you just go and look through it, you'll basically see a history of the past.
Is it starting from when the temple first opened, or when is it starting from?
I don't think it was there when it first opened, but there are some pretty old ones here. I saw one from '88 up here, but people put them from the past. Like if their father died a long time ago, they'll put a commemoration plaque up here. So these are from '83 and '85, and it's just
So this is kind of like remembering,
right.
A commemorations wall. What does that say up there?
I don't know. I kind of read Hebrew, but I don't speak it. So.
Is there a reason why you don't speak it?
Well, in Hebrew school we learn to read it, and the things we learn to read for our bar and bat mitzvahs, we know what it means from asking, but we don't really have enough time here because it's not a full-time school to learn a new language. So you pick up some words, but it's mostly just knowing what the characters are.
And how long is your education here at a Hebrew school? Like how long, what's a typical day?
Well, it starts in kindergarten, and you can go up till 8th grade until you have your bar bat mitzvah, and some grades are just 2 hours a week. Once you get older, you do like 4 or 6 hours a week, and it's just you come here after school. There's short services led by the students, and then afterwards you go into your specific classes. What might have to do with Jewish food or culture or Hebrew reading, and then once you get older, bar and bat mitzvah preparation.
I see. Well, how has your Jewish education impacted your life?
Well, a lot of it is like it wasn't my choosing. When I was little, I didn't say, "Mom, Dad, I want to go to Hebrew school." It's just I'm a Jewish kid. That's what you do. So I came here when I was in 2nd grade, and I stayed through then. But I think the most impact it had on me, my view towards it was kind of like the cliche Jewish school. I don't want to go to school, something like that. Come home from school, it's not the best thing to just come back to another 2-hour school after that. But I think the biggest impact it had on me was introducing me to the community here, because I'm not really spiritual, and in that way, and services don't really do much for me. But the people I've met here, and I've probably met over 50 people, and I just feel like this is a whole nother community that I'm part of, and it's just given me a taste of something other than friends and family.
Okay, let's keep walking. So being that you're not spiritual, how does your view differ from that of your parents' view?
Well, my parents are both somewhat religious. My mom actually converted, and she's ironically the most religious one out of all of us. She keeps kosher. She's the only one that keeps kosher.
What was your mother's religion before she converted to?
She was Catholic.
She was Catholic.
But she converted when she married my dad, and it stuck with her the most. But I just kind of grown apart from religion. But I still like do all seders and Hanukkah and stuff. So it's still, even though I'm not religious, a very, very big part of my life.
Okay, so you are not religious, but it's still a part of your life, and you choose not. Is there a reason why you choose not to do it? Is it just because you just
I just don't connect with it.
But how does that affect your relationship with your parents? Because your parents are very religious and you're not. So how does that affect your relationship, being that you are religious, or being that you're not religious and they are? Your views are completely different upon it. So how does that happen when you guys have to do Passover or celebrate the different holidays? How does it come together?
Well, I think the fact that I'm very open about it, and that it's just like a thing, it doesn't really affect much, because to me, when we have a Seder or a Hanukkah party, it's not religious for me. It's a family thing, and it's just something that we can all connect to. So when we're at a Seder and we're doing all prayers, I participate in everything because it's something our family does, and it's just a family bonding experience.
So to you, it's more family orientated. So to you, it's more family, and to other people, it's more religious.
Yeah.
Do you think it's more religious for your parents than it is for you?
Well, certainly they take more from the prayers because they connect with the Jewish faith more. But to me, I still take part in it, in like things we do as a family just as much. So I mean, it's kind of just they take more from it, but it doesn't really show. It's just kind of we all do the same thing, and just what we take from it is a separate thing.
Will you one day come into your own? Will you one day hope to become more religious, or you just don't feel that right now?
I just don't think it's a big part of my life, and it's not particularly important to me. But I'm not just gonna throw away my Jewish roots, because it's been a huge part of my life. All my family is, a lot of my friends are, and it's a community that you can't escape. It's part of your life, and it's a great thing.
That's so interesting now you're talking about community, because that's kind of what we're learning about in our class. It's called a multicultural perspective in education course. And we talk about communities, and we talk about individualistic and in a collectivist society. So do you feel that your religion or the Judaism for you, do you feel that it's more of an individualistic, or do you feel that you're more collectivist, like you do everything together, or do you feel like everybody is trying to exist on their own and then come together, or is everybody existing and doing things as a family?
Well, I feel especially at this synagogue and with my family, people are pretty collective about it. It's not everyone's individual thing, and they come together. A lot of people here don't keep kosher, or a lot of different Jewish traditions. Some people do, but I think everyone's pretty much on the same level of connectedness with the faith. So when people come in here, it's a very it's a communal thing. It's not individualistic trying to fit pieces together. It's a mass thing, and for me, it's harder to fit in, obviously, because faith isn't really a part of my life. But the community part is so overwhelmingly important that it's not a problem fitting in or attending.
How does that affect you on the outside of here? Being that this is your religion, your faith, this is what your family does, and this is your background, how does being in Hebrew school, how has that affected you on the outside of here, like your friends and everything like that? Actually, I do want to see where you actually had Hebrew school.
Oh yeah, we can go through there. Well, it's funny because in school and everything, to all my Jewish friends, my non-Jewish friends, no matter what I believe, I am Jewish. I'm Jake Cohen. I'm Jewish. So it's in that sense, it's not really about the faith. It's about being part of this culture. Like, my friends all know that I don't really believe or connect with the religion, but I'm Jewish. Like, we talk about stuff like that, and it's just kind of an identity to me more than a religion.
Do you think your friends see you as Jewish and they don't see you as a person, or do you feel do you feel because you are Jewish, you don't have a sense of who you are, your own person, because of your faith?
They definitely, they see me as like individualistic in that I don't connect with it, but it's kind of anyone who's Jewish, it seems, has this Jewish identity, and it's not the whole thing, but it's a part of it. It's something that you are. So, and it's not something that when they they just think of people as a separate Jewish population. It's more these group of people have this one thing in common that connects them as a community, and it certainly feels like that way. People that I don't know as well that are Jewish, I kind of feel more connected with them than I do with others, simply because the community is just very tight-knit.
Do you feel that sometimes you're lumped into this because of your background? Do you feel like sometimes you're lumped into this big thing that you are lumped into being Jewish because of your background? Do you sometimes feel like you want to break away and do your own thing, but because you are Jewish, everybody lumps you into that?
Well, I certainly am lumped into
society.
it, and I don't think if I wanted to escape from people thinking of me that way, I necessarily could, because it's just something that they see you as, which is something separate. But to me, it's not really a problem, because I still, even though I don't believe in God or connect with the faith as much as other people, I still, again, am part of the community. I'm here just as much as other people are, and I don't see that as a bad thing. It's a community that I'm a part of. Everyone's very close. It's a very kind community, and I don't see a problem with still being lumped into this simply because it's not my faith. It's just my community and identity.
Got it. That's interesting. I've never thought of it like that. Well, that's very interesting that you see that. And being that I'm Christian, it's so strange to me, because I understand what you're saying. Being that I'm a young Christian in the faith, I see exactly what you're saying, because when you have older people who are grounded and rooted in this, and you are not, and you see things that you might not agree with, so it's hard for you to establish yourself in your faith the way you are. I completely understand. But being that you are here, how often are you here?
Well, recently my sister just finished her bat mitzvah, so I'm basically here for special occasions when the holidays come around, Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur. I'm here. I volunteer with the Hebrew school, which I'm about to show you, and that's still a part that I take place a lot. There's a lot of dinners here. My mom's very involved. My dad's the men's club president. So when I'm actually wearing a shirt for the softball team here, the Bethel Whitefish, that's a thing. It's just a bunch of Jewish guys from here. We go and we play softball with a bunch of other temples. So it's just a thing that I do. But before, up until maybe like 6 months ago, I was here quite a bit. My sister was practicing for her bat mitzvah, so I came in here for services and things like that. And then flashback to about 8th grade, about 3-4 years ago, I was here 3-4 times a week practicing for my bar mitzvah.
What is a bar mitzvah?
It's a celebration of becoming a Jewish adult, at least in the religion eyes. You become like a full practicing member. You count as a person. You count as a person in a in a prayer service. Like some things you need at least so many people. You count towards that. It's just it's an honorable thing that you come into, and it's not necessarily required. When you turn this age, you are technically a bat mitzvah or a bar mitzvah, but in Hebrew school you study all this thing, and it's the final celebration. Our tradition, you read Torah, which is a pretty major thing, and it's a lot of times the first time kids do it, and it's just a celebration of becoming a Jewish adult and connecting to the faith.
Do you feel that because you were I'm not going to say forced, but do you feel like because you sort of were forced into it, that you don't have that faith? Do you feel like you were not given a choice as to this is kind of what you had to do because it's who you are? Do you feel that way, like because you weren't given a choice, that's why you kind of don't agree with what?
Well, I feel like
freely.
It never really became. It never was a problem, but I didn't really realize really much of what I believed until maybe 6th or 7th grade. I mean, still a little kid. But I started to realize like what I really thought. And at that point, I'd been in Hebrew school for 4 or 5 years, and I never objected to it. Like, it's just, I'm Jewish, this is what I do. And then after that, it was just, I worked so much putting into this, and it was less of a religious experience for me, and more of a thing where all my family came together, and it was a big celebration. And it meant something to them, and in a different way than it meant to me. To me, it meant I was connecting more with my family and just becoming part of this Jewish identity. And to them, it meant that, but also I was connecting to the religion.
Okay.
So I'll show you the
Absolutely.
Hebrew
This
school
is where
area.
you went to Hebrew school?
So this is the education quarters.
Okay. This is your education quarters of
There's a
Hebrew school.
There's a bunch of classrooms here. This room, if it's not locked.
Now, how long is Hebrew school again?
Hebrew school is 2 hours a day, and people go from 1 to 3 days a week.
How many days a week did you go?
When I first started off, it was 1 on Sundays. As I got older, it was Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday, and then it was just Saturdays, and then it was just Tuesday. It's like for every grade, it's a bit different, but I did all of them.
Now, how did you going to Hebrew school impact you on the outside of trying to do extracurricular activities with your friends or with your outside school? What was that like?
Hebrew school ended at about 8th grade, so my high school career, which most of the after-school activities hadn't started yet. But it really didn't infringe upon anything else I did with my friends because I had friends here as well.
Okay.
So if maybe I didn't want to sit down and just listen to a teacher for an hour, but I still got to see my friends here, and every week there was at least one fun activity, so it was kind of just an extracurricular activity in its own.
Okay.
But this is the main office. This is just like kind of the center of it. At any time between bells or beginning and end of Hebrew school, this whole area is packed with people, just volunteers running in and out of here, people sitting here, and this is just one of the most imprinted memories on me because I've spent so much time in here. There's just like sitting here, just taking attendance for people, or coming here collecting these tzedakah boxes.
What is a tzedakah box?
Tzedakah in Hebrew is like charitable giving.
Okay.
So every class puts money in here every day, and it builds up, and we donate it to the Jewish Home, I believe, or the National Jewish Fund, and that was just a big part of it. And just this office was kind of the center of everything in here, and that was a lot of it.
So education is very, very important in Judaism.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know one Jewish friend that didn't attend Hebrew school at least for a certain amount of time. All my family has, and it's something that basically every Jew can connect to.
Now, what is all this? We passed by this
These
earlier.
are talit. It's a garment that Jewish males wear during services after your bar mitzvah.
Okay.
And it's just a traditional thing. The prayer service involved these corners of it, and there's a bunch of it's part of rituals. You say prayers with it, and it's just a custom to do for us. This is the. There we go. This is the sanctuary. This is the probably main, what I call, room in the whole temple. It's the room where services and tefillah happen. And it's really a way for the kids to connect to the bigger community because this is where Saturday services happen as well as the Hebrew school.
How long does a service usually last?
A Saturday service is usually about 3 hours, 2 hours, in that range, and it's a much bigger thing. They take down these Torahs right here, and they read from them, and there's prayer books right here under every seat for people to use. And, yes, it's
Do
a
you
big thing.
You guys don't do services on Sundays? It's only Saturdays?
There's like a morning quicker service on Sunday. There's one a lot of the days of the week, but that's only the most devoted congregants. There's not as many people here. The main Shabbat service is on Saturday.
Okay. And what is Shabbat? What does that mean?
It's the day of rest in the
Okay.
Jewish religion, and that's when the most people come. There's services in here, and afterwards there's a luncheon on the other side, and people have food, and it's a big part of the Jewish culture on Saturdays. Everyone comes here, they talk, meet with people, have services, and it's just a really communal experience.
Is it like one big service, or is it several different services?
It's one big service that happens here. They have one for little kids, like Tot Shabbat. It's for 2-year-olds, and that's just to keep them occupied, connected. But other than that, it's just this one.
This is actually very. This is so cool and interesting that I understand a lot of what I'm talking about in my class about how, because it's a multicultural perspective class, I understand how you guys see yourselves as a collectivist. Like everything you do is done as a group. You don't do anything as individuals. Everything is done together to build a sense of community and to build a sense of, we're in this together. And I like that. And there are some religions that don't do that, but I like the fact that you guys stay true to who you are. And
It's a very
build upon that. And I think that's very neat.
Judaism is it's not only just it's a religion. It's an identity. It's a culture. It's a community, and it's a part of your life, not just a part of what you believe.
Absolutely.
This is a Torah that was salvaged from a temple in Europe during the Holocaust, and there's candles here. It's a tradition for us to light memorial candles at certain times of the year, on certain holidays that commemorate the Holocaust. And back in the sanctuary, we have another Holocaust Torah that we actually read out of and is in use. And I actually read out of that for my bar mitzvah because my great-grandmother actually survived the Holocaust, so I read it as kind of as an ode to her.
Did you meet her, or had she passed before you?
No, she passed when I was young, but and I do remember her, so it meant a lot to me to be able to connect to something that was so near to me.
It's neat. I like that. That you have a commemorative wall of what you guys went through and how you read from the Torah from the Holocaust, and I like that. Thanks.